Footsteps explode through the cold palace halls of Jerusalem. Torches shake in the hands of terrified servants. Mothers are screaming. Soldiers are kicking down doors with blood already dripping from their swords. This is not an enemy invasion. This is not a foreign army. This horror is happening inside the royal palace itself. The royal nursery doors burst open, and helpless little princes are dragged from their beds. Babies cry in terror as iron blades flash through the darkness. Tiny bodies fall onto the stone floors. The future kings of Judah are being butchered one by one, and sitting on the throne, listening to the screams without mercy, is their own grandmother. Her eyes are cold. Her heart is harder than stone. She does not weep for her dead family. She smiles as the bloodline of David is erased before her eyes. The woman ordering this massacre is not just any queen. She is the daughter of the most feared woman in the Bible. If you think Jezebel was wicked, then you haven't met her daughter. Long before the cries filled the palace halls, Athaliah was born into darkness. She was the daughter of wicked King Ahab and the infamous Queen Jezebel, the woman who hunted down the prophets of God and filled Israel with idol worship. Her childhood was soaked in power, manipulation, and bloodshed. She learned from the best. She watched her mother threaten prophets, steal vineyards, and challenge the living God without fear. And that poison grew inside her heart. To create peace between two kingdoms, Athaliah was married into the royal family of Judah. She became the wife of King Jeram. But Athaliah did not come to Jerusalem bringing peace. She brought corruption. She brought the worship of Baal. She brought the same darkness that destroyed her mother. Slowly, she whispered evil into the ears of the kings of Judah. Her husband listened to her. Then her son listened to her too. He also walked in the ways of the house of Ahab, for his mother advised him to do wickedly. 2 Chronicles chapter 20 to verse 3. But God was watching. One terrible day, Athaliah's son, King Ahaziah, went out to war. The battle turned into chaos. Arrows flew through the air. Horses screamed. Men crashed to the ground. Then suddenly, Ahaziah was struck down and killed. News raced back to Jerusalem like wildfire. The king is dead. The palace expected grief. They expected mourning. They expected a broken mother covered in tears. Instead, Athaliah saw opportunity. Her eyes moved toward the royal children, her own grandsons, little boys who carried the bloodline of King David, innocent children standing between her and absolute power. And something evil awakened inside her. When Athaliah, the mother of Ahaziah, saw that her son was dead, she arose and destroyed all the royal heirs. 2 Kings chapter 11 verse 1. That very night, death squads stormed through the palace. Soldiers hunted children like animals. The cries of mothers echoed through the corridors. One prince after another disappeared into the darkness. Athaliah was wiping out the house of David itself. The royal line God had promised would never end. She thought she killed them all, but she missed one. In the middle of the slaughter, a brave woman named Jehosheba heard the screams. Her heart pounded with fear as soldiers rushed through the palace halls. She knew she had only seconds to act. She slipped quietly into the nursery and found a tiny baby boy named Joash. The assassins were getting closer. Heavy footsteps thundered outside the door. Jehosheba grabbed the child and wrapped him tightly in blankets. The baby almost cried out, but she covered his mouth and held him against her chest as tears streamed down her face. Then she hid him and his nurse inside a bedroom. But Jehosheba, the daughter of King Joram, sister of Ahaziah, took Joash the son of Ahaziah and stole him away from among the king's sons who were being murdered. 2 Kings chapter 11 verse 2. Every second felt like death. Guards marched past the room searching for survivors. One wrong sound and the child would be killed instantly. But God kept him hidden under the cover of darkness. Jehosheba carried the little boy out of the palace and into the one place Athaliah hated most, the temple of the Lord. And there, inside the holy house of God, the future king disappeared from the eyes of the wicked queen. For 6 long years, Athaliah ruled Judah with fear and cruelty. She sat on the throne believing she had destroyed the entire family line of David. She built altars for Baal. She filled the land with idol worship. The people suffered under her rule while she lived surrounded by luxury and power. But just a short distance away, hidden behind the temple walls, little Joash was growing up in secret. He learned to walk inside the house of God. He learned the scriptures while the wicked queen ruled outside. Every year he grew stronger. Every year Athaliah came closer to the day of her downfall without even knowing it. And he was hidden from her in the house of the Lord for 6 years, while Athaliah reigned over the land. 2 Kings chapter 11 verse 3. Then came the 7th year. The high priest, Jehoiada, knew the time had come. Quietly, in secret, he gathered the commanders of the royal guards inside the temple. The room was tense. Soldiers placed their hands on their swords, unsure why they had been summoned. Then Jehoiada revealed the hidden child. A 7-year-old boy stepped forward. The guards froze in shock. The line of David was alive. The rightful king had survived. Some of the soldiers fell to their knees. Others stared with tears in their eyes. Hope rushed through the room like fire. Jehoiada armed the guards with the ancient spears and shields that once belonged to King David himself. Then he made a plan to overthrow the wicked queen. The Sabbath arrived. Crowds gathered near the temple. Soldiers secretly took positions around the young boy. Every entrance was guarded. Every sword was ready. Then suddenly, Jehoiada brought the child into the open before all the people. And they brought out the king's son, put the crown on him, and gave him the testimony. They made him king and anointed him. And they clapped their hands and said, "Long live the king." 2 Kings chapter 11 verse 12. The sound shook Jerusalem. Trumpets blasted through the city streets. People shouted with joy. Hands clapped. Voices roared like thunder. Long live the king. Inside the palace, Athaliah heard the noise. Her face twisted with rage. She stormed toward the temple surrounded by guards. expecting to crush a rebellion. But the moment she entered the temple courtyard, she froze. There he stood, a little boy wearing the royal crown. The impossible had happened. The bloodline she thought she destroyed was alive. When Athaliah heard the noise of the escorts and the people, she came to the people in the temple of the Lord. 2 Kings chapter 11 verse 13. Panic exploded inside her. She ripped her royal robes in horror. Treason, treason, she screamed. But nobody moved to help her. The guards who once obeyed her now stared at her with cold eyes. The people did not fear her anymore. Her power was gone. Then Jehoiada, the priest, gave the final command. The soldiers surrounded Athaliah and dragged her away from the temple. She fought and screamed as they pulled her through the palace gates toward the horse entrance. And there, away from the holy house of God, the wicked queen met her end. The woman who murdered her own grandchildren died alone. Her reign of terror was over. The people tore down the temples of Baal. They smashed the idols into pieces. And a 7-year-old boy sat on the throne of Judah, proving that no matter how dark evil becomes, God never forgets his promises. God had preserved the line of David through one hidden child. And through that bloodline, many generations later would come Jesus Christ, the Savior of the world. The light survived the darkness.